5:15 on this Monday morning, and the images coming out of the wildfires from the sky. We've seen entire neighborhoods decimated from the ground are just heartbreaking. And we want to bring in somebody who's been documenting all the damage.
We want to bring in Will Lester. He's a staff photographer at the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin. He also grew up in Altadena. He's joining us live this morning. Will, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm like, this must be such a surreal experience for you, being a journalist and probably having covered wildfires for years and years, to actually now go into your own neighborhood, the neighborhood you grew up in. It just takes a different turn here.
Yeah, I mean, after living there for 30 years, I haven't lived there in 30 years, but I lived there for 30 years, and going in there on Wednesday morning after the firestorm went through Tuesday night is just really surreal, and I never was expecting to see what I saw up there that morning.
When you first stepped into the neighborhoods, especially where you grew up, what was your initial reaction?
Well, the farther I went west across Altadena Drive, the worse it got. I just couldn't believe how destructive it was and how quickly it ran through the area. I was expecting, maybe a few houses here and there, but it was just complete devastation. All the areas I used to, ride my bike and skateboard and all that stuff back when I was a kid, I mean, their areas were unrecognizable. The closest thing I can describe it to is what happened in Lahaina. It's, it's complete streets are block after block are gone, and it's just unrecognizable.
I think we're going to take a look at some of the pictures that you have taken from there. You lived there for quite some time. You still have family and friends in the area. Again, what's it like to be able to see all of these areas, perhaps your school, the home that you grew up in, all of your neighbors' homes? What's that been like?
Well, one of the first places I went by to see if my old home was still there, and it was. But going into some of the other areas, I had to call quite a few friends and tell them that their childhood homes were gone.
Oh, my goodness.
And those were hard phone calls to make. And granted, they don't live there anymore, and it doesn't compare to the ones who are still living there who lost their homes.
I think
but it was still, there's a lot of memories that are gone now.
Yeah. When you're a photographer and it's your job to kind of capture these images, you're out there. Yes, you're taking this in as a human, but you're also there to do a job. And I'm just wondering what that job is like. Is there even a way to separate the human versus the job at that point?
Well, being a journalist, it's kind of in your blood of what you do. I think most journalists would agree with me on that. But this one was personal. I've done many fires, and I'm able to pretty much wash it out of my system pretty quickly, and just move on to the next assignment. But this one is really stuck hard. I just wasn't. I don't think anybody expected anything like this, and I've been covering these for over 30 years, and I've never seen anything like this anywhere.
Well, it's certainly important for you, and I think the community needs someone like you who is completely invested in this community, having lived there for so long as a journalist. And over the past few days after the fire had swept through that area, what do you think are some of the biggest struggles ahead for the families that live here? What are some of the things that they might need?
Well, I know. I mean, I was up in the West Altadena area yesterday, and I didn't make it over there on Wednesday. And the west side is even worse than the east side, which is unimaginable to me. I know the residents want to get in there as quickly as they can, but there are so many trees down. There's still houses smoldering. Electrical lines are down everywhere. There was a lot of utility crews in there yesterday working to get that, back in business. It's just going to take time. It's just something that's just not going to be fixed overnight by any means.
Will, of all the work that you did, that you've been doing out there, and all the images that you've taken, is there any one particular image that stands out in your mind?
The one you just showed there of the golf course, that one got wiped out pretty good. I mean, it's been like, again, another staple in Altadena. It's been there for decades. Going up Colorado Boulevard, or I'm sorry, Lake Avenue, which you showed right there. It's like I say, a lot of it's just so unrecognizable. I mean, that one, this one here, that's one of the things about Altadena is the homes in Altadena. They're not track homes. These homes have been there for 100 years.
Yeah.
So each one has its own character, and that's just something that's not going to be able to be replaced.
We know that this has also been very difficult for you. You know, when you grow up in a place like that, a part of yourself is there, right? A part of your heart, a part of your soul. And you know, I think the community is lucky that they have you, because you're going to be there and you're going to be able to help and document what happens there and the rebuilding and the recovering in the future.